What if your boss is horrible and unsupportive and uncommunicative and whatever else that's not going well with them? This is today's topic, and first things first, my name is Lydia. I'm a life and mindset coach for successful entrepreneurs and C-suite leaders, and here on the channel I talk about all things business growth, mindset, manifestation, conscious creation. And thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for leaving comments, for supporting my channel here in the early stages. I'm really appreciating you for that. Thank you so much. If you're interested in coaching, everything is in the description below. Check it out. I have 2 group offers at the moment that are still on pre-sale. It's the Mindset Tribe for beginners when it comes to entrepreneurship, or also mindset and manifestation. So you haven't had a lot of experience with that. This might be the right place for you. Or if you're already further ahead, you're a successful entrepreneur and you really want to master your life and you want to master your mind, and with that obviously also grow your business, but also grow every area of your life, because there are so many more levels and layers of happiness available to you beyond anything that you knew existed. So if you're somehow longing for more, for expansion, check out my expansion mastermind, reach out to me, ask me your questions, and then we can see what the right fit is for you. Okay, now to the topic. Of course, today I'm talking about what if your boss is not supportive, and you can actually exchange the word boss with any person in your life. But I had 2 clients, because I also have clients who are still employed and who are working for a boss. They might have a leadership position, but there is still someone above them, or at least someone they really don't work well with. And I want to take the example of a boss, and I have basically two clients who one is working on that actively at the moment, and the other one has changed how her boss shows up in her life, totally, a total different story. And the thing is, 2 things I want to bring to your mind here. The first thing is, yes, your boss can change. You can select a different version of your boss in your own reality. I teach mindset and manifestation here, and you have free will in your own reality, and you have the choice to choose a different version of every person in your life. It's quite a 180 to what society tells you. You can stick with what society tells you, or you can apply what I'm teaching you here and change your entire life. It's up to you. So I give you a bit more information on that here. So when it comes to other people in your life, you probably have had this experience. You have a person who's super friendly to you and super supportive, super helpful. And then there is a friend of yours who always complains about that person and says hey, this person is so unfriendly, unsupportive. It's the same person. 2 very different versions of that person showing up to you and to that other person. So every person, even yourself, probably know that from yourself. To a few people you might be super friendly, you can be very helpful, and with other people you just get so annoyed by their questions, you don't want to help, and so on. So there are even different versions of you existing, right? And that means you have the choice of different versions showing up for you. You have the choice. It's up to you. It's up to your beliefs, your assumptions, your behavior. And when it comes to your boss, 2 things here, what I see happening with my clients. Usually they have some kind of authority, of course, because they are in a higher ranking position. And often they even have status, a authority in their way, how they show up. So what happened with my clients is that these, the boss figure, and even bosses before them, it wasn't just this one, really resembled almost like a parental figure of my clients. And you have to become aware of that. So when you say oh my God, my boss is so this and that, and I really hate that, and it's very difficult, usually what happened was that for my clients, they had a similar story with with a parent, with the mother or the father. One, it's a female boss, the other one is a male boss. So it was, the male boss, the man was almost like similar to the father, and the energy and the fear my client had of them and so on. And the same with the mother, you know, like this subordinate feeling and this like, oh my God, I have to be silent and quiet and do everything right, and still my boss is like freaking out and being very mean and unsupportive and doesn't communicate well. And it was almost resembling what they had experienced in the relationship to their parent. So the first thing, of course, is what does it remind me of? Like, where do I know this kind of relationship from with my boss? Like, what are the feelings that are being triggered? Where do I know these feelings from? And very often we have to go into childhood, and there we find it all. So this is to understand a little bit what's going on. Usually romantic partners or people who have a lot of connection with you, like either a romantic or through power connection with you, they show up like almost as the unhealed versions of earlier like important people in your life. Like relationships that are still struggling in you, they will be projected from other people in your life. They will be mirrored back to you from other people in your life. So actually it's an immense invitation for growth for you. So if you have a boss who triggers you, who triggers the fuck out of you, it's for you to do the work, because the thing is that people say like, oh, I just get a new boss and then everything is fine. But the new boss will have the same traits. You can select one boss after the other or go from one company to the other. It will be mirrored back to you from new people. The same with relationships. People are like, I hate my partner. I want a new one. Guess what? The new one at some point might be amazing in the beginning, but then at some point almost turns into that version from the partner before. So it's really crazy. You cannot outrun your own patterns. You can only solve them and shift into a different story, into a different identity, into a different state. And then these relationships will change as well. So this is what my clients did. They worked on themselves. They worked on three things. They worked on the beliefs about themselves. How do I see myself? What do I think about myself? Am I a worthy employee? Am I a worthy person? Am I good at what I do? So what are you thinking about yourself? Of course, when it comes to that topic, it's not like what do I think about myself about gardening or something. It's of course what we are talking about here in this context, like at work. Then what do you think about the other person, especially, you know, the authoritative figure there? What do you think about them? They are mean, they are controlling, they are horrible, they are unsupportive. This has to change. The longer you hold this in your awareness, the longer your boss has to play this role. When you shift into the state of, hey, my boss is amazing, my boss is so communicative, my boss is so supportive, my boss loves everything I do and is like celebrating my successes and is celebrating my accomplishments and gives me amazing feedback, the more you shift into that state, the more your boss has to mirror that back to you. And the third one is your assumptions about the work context in general. Like, what are your assumptions about bosses? Like, bosses are always mean, they always, you know, like are not supportive, they are even narcissistic and all of that. If, you know, and work, like there is never a good relationship between boss and employee or something. So the general idea you hold about this kind of relationship, this work-related relationship, has to, like, you have to check that as well. It can be that you have negative assumptions in all three areas, or it can be that you have specifically in one area really negative assumptions, and yet then you have to tackle those. You will have to rewire your mind or have to shift into a state where you hold other assumptions about these three areas. Again, for you, what are your assumptions and beliefs about yourself? What are your assumptions and beliefs about the other person, in that case, the boss? What are your beliefs and assumptions about the whole context, the whole work-related scenario? Check in with yourself what they are. If they are negative, if they are not beneficial for you, this is what has to change. And then slowly or quickly, you will start seeing a massive shift in how your boss relates to you, how the work is. It has happened for every one of my clients who wanted a shift, not even just in like business related areas, but also in relationships, to their partner, to their kids. You can apply this to any struggling relationship in your life, platonic and or romantic, doesn't matter. So if your boss is horrible, unsupportive, narcissistic, whatever, change your perspective about them, change your perspective about you, change your perspective about the whole scenario, and your reality will mirror that back to you. This is my main message for you today. First, create the awareness, do a little bit of reverse engineering, like what happened here, what are my thoughts about that person? Then start shifting them through whatever technique you want. If you just need the awareness, it can happen in an instant. You just understand, this is how I've been doing it before. Now I'm changing that. Now I'm shifting that. Then you don't have to do anything further. You just have to stay in that awareness, and that's it. If you are someone who quickly falls out of that awareness again, use a technique like affirmation routine or visualization, where you have a timer for 5 to 10 minutes where you really saturate your mind with this new affirmation. For example, my boss is so supportive of me. My boss is extremely communicative and appreciative of me, or whatever it is, you know, and really saturate your mind, like repeat this to yourself, saturate your mind through repetition. The same if you have, if you're more a visual person, you can create a visual end scene, a visualization, where, for example, your boss is like super friendly to you and says like, hey, well done with this job, or something like that, and loop that visualization for a certain amount of time throughout the day. 10 minutes for 3 times a day, 5 minutes for 3 times a day, depending on how much you fall back into the old story. You have to see this for yourself. And if you fall back into the old story, you can also go for like shorter amounts and really every hour check in with yourself. Am I in the old state of like nothing is working, boss is horrible? Or am I in the new state? My boss is amazing. My boss is so supportive. And again, don't look at your boss. Don't check your physical reality if there are any changes. Go inside, do the changes inside, and you will become aware of those shifts. You don't have to look for them. You will become aware of them. So stop looking for anything. Just do the work. That's it. Do the work. That's it. Don't look for any changes. Do not look for any changes, because once you enter that new identity, once you enter that new state, you will just become aware of them. But if you're in the state of looking for changes, you're still in the old state. Because in the new state of my boss is amazing, I'm amazing, everything is perfect, you wouldn't look for that because it already is. You have to understand. So stop looking. I actually have to make, yes, I'm writing this down. I have to make a whole video about that because it's so powerful. Powerful, powerful. Okay, that's it for today. Let me know your experiences or your questions. If you successfully have these changes showing up in your life, please let me know. Either send me an email or put it into the comments. If you feel you want more support, as I said, my mastermind, my expansion mastermind for successful entrepreneurs and leaders is on pre-sale and is starting in October. And the Mindset Tribe, where you just get like a little bit of input, a little bit of coaching, you just want to get started with everything, so to say, is already running. You can join it anytime. If you have questions, reach out to me. And thank you so much for watching, for being here with me, and until the next video. Bye bye.